And then what happened? I graduated with honors in pharmacology from King's College University in London. I found that some people will always demotivate you, directly or indirectly. They can have an opinion about everything you do or you have done. The way you talk, the way you dress, where you come from, and what you want to be in the future. And it's very easy to fall in and adopt the same way of thinking. But I said to myself, look at this differently. Embrace the beauty of differences. See this as the color and power of various cultures, rich with many opinions of life. And be who you are, be proud of your identity. Life, of course, doesn't stop here. And you will face another types of challenges. I was lucky to get a full scholarship from University of Cambridge and do PhD in biotechnology. But of course, it was challenging. It was and is still a male-dominated field. They told me I'm only going to last 3 months. Well, I graduated and I was recognized scientifically and internationally, received many offers and prizes from the most prestigious institutions, labs, and companies from around the world. Even after I finished my PhD from Cambridge University and I went to Harvard, I wanted to bring science and society together to help the community be fueled by the power of innovation. With Harvard, I wanted to deliver a low-cost health diagnostic tool to the needy, but there is often resistance. People will still stand and try to demotivate you from your goals. That they accuse us of not doing science. So I said to myself, if I truly believe in the power of innovation, the fire of the imagination to raise life to the highest level, if I do embrace social innovation, catalyzing science in society, don't stop. I must continue to capture this benefit for the poor. Guess what happened? After 2 years working hard at Harvard Business School with my science and business team, brightness emerged. We won Harvard's first prize on social innovation and MIT's first prize for introducing an innovation pathway out of the box to save millions of people's lives. No team before us has ever won both these prizes in the same year. So science for me is unlimited, and what we can do and achieve for civilization is unlimited. I would say social innovation has helped me to see through this complex world. Nowadays, science is different. Not the space shuttles of years gone by, but the power of the new biotechnology and nanotechnology, machine learning shaping our world. Science is becoming more human. Nanotechnology, for example, controls very small things that you cannot see to make a big difference in society. In the poor areas of the developing world, many people are deprived from the benefit of science and technology, which could change their lives. So being smart and having resources is not enough for true breakthrough innovation to make a difference in people's lives. We must to aim science at the social issues to get that impact. Then we can customize science to people's needs according to their infrastructure and way of life. So from the start, science links to society. More heart and mind thinking together and working together. When I was at Harvard, I always said to myself, what of my education and of my training can I bring back to my country, to the region, to communities in general, to get science and society working in harmony and opening new pathways? Well, I started the I2 Institute for Imagination and Ingenuity for Youth in the Middle East, to create the ecosystem of entrepreneurship and social innovation for scientists, technology, and engineers in the Middle East and beyond so they can fulfill their potential to their communities. This experience was invaluable when I was Science, Technology, and Innovation Senior Advisor to the former President of the Islamic Development Bank. I started with the bank two funds, Transform Fund with Entrepreneurship Academy and Saving Women's Life from Cancer Fund with IAEA, International Atomic Energy Agency. Each fund targeted $500 million and they aim to ensure the innovators, startups have access to steady finance, especially in the developing countries. I helped seed over 100 innovative projects. Finally, people will try to stop you and say it's impossible. But with the right tools and the right spirit, change is possible. Let's make the change for good. It's happening now. I came from a traditional family of 8 children in Mecca with no extra luxury, but now I'm one of the 10 UN appointed scientific experts to help the developing world, one of the first 30 Saudi women appointed by the King of Saudi Arabia to be part of a parliamentary council, a goodwill ambassador for STEM at UNESCO, a National Geography Imaging Explorer, an honorary fellow at Newnham College in Cambridge University. So to you, if you are 20 or 30 or 70 or above or below, this is what helped me. First, I have taken inspiration of my scientific heroes, and I have tried to learn from them. Second, I have always moved forward with action. I have found a common way to fail in life is not to try. Instead, start and persist in climbing. Listen to your inner voice. Don't let people tell you it is not possible. Third, I have risen to world challenges by working with others across the world. I'm not scared of working together. I have learned through travel and study 1,000 miles or 1,000 years. You still find people just like you and I. So everything important in business, in life, and in science, I find depends on connecting together and building great teams. Fourth, I never forgotten the inner journey. I treat my mind a bit like a garden, cultivating the good things and the beautiful things. And we have to keep our thoughts healthy. The greatest minds had positive and beatable energy. Finally, I have found it's critical to surround yourself with people who believe in you too. As a child, I waited through dusty books looking for female heroes in science, but I couldn't find any woman that looked like me. I was fortunate to have a supportive father, but this is not always the case. This is why I'm committed to supporting women and girls across the world. My advice to all women around the world, and of course men, keep on imagining your next step. Stay positive and keep going strong. And it doesn't matter about all the challenges and crazy stuff the world is facing right now. You are going to make a difference, whatever field you are going to select. You are smart, you are talented, you are beautiful, and you are going to be brilliant. So go and make a world a better one. I wish you all a great conference, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Dr. Hayat. Unfortunately, she has to leave. She has other commitments, but I really thank you for this inspiration you gave to us on this morning or this afternoon from all over the world. I don't know where are you at any part of the world. Thanks a lot, Professor Hayat.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amal, and thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot. I will forward for you any questions belonging to your session, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Norina.
Thank you so much. It was truly inspirational. Not only all what you have done, but I think first and foremost, your attitude and your inspirational mind. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And I would like now to introduce Professor Mohamed Basharuddin. He's a senior professor of chemistry at the University of Putra, Malaysia, and chair of the ICTIC UNESCO Governing Board. He's a fellow of the Academy of Science Malaysia and TUAS. With a PhD from the University of Southampton, he has published more than 300 papers and holds 27 patents. His work bridges science, policy, sustainability, and innovation capacity building in the Global South. Now he is presenting on bridging boundaries and building futures by turning science policy into societal impact through leadership and innovation partnership. It's a great honor to have you with us, Professor Mohamed Basharuddin. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to share my screen. Just a moment.
Please go ahead.
All right, again, distinguished guests, respected colleagues, innovators and entrepreneurs. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and warm greetings to all. So it is such a great pleasure and honor to address this World Forum for Science, Innovation and Entrepreneurship. I think this forum reflects an important truth of our time, and also just now being nicely conveyed by Dr. Hayat Cindy. I would like to take first the opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to Professor Amal Amin and also Dr. Narina, and to all founders and funders, very important, of this important platform. So allow me to briefly introduce you ISTIC UNESCO, which is the International Science, Technology and Innovation Center for South-South Cooperation under the auspices of UNESCO. Our mandate is to strengthen science, technology and innovation capacity. I think you can refer to the vision and mission, but the most important in developing countries, particularly in South-South cooperation, through policy support, capacity building, knowledge sharing, and international cooperation. So in short, we are the Category 2 Center under the natural sciences, and under the science policy, we focus more on development of science policy, and there are many other agendas. So first, for example, we supported many of the UNESCO initiative, for example, open science, but there is a certain area that we really focus on. Climate change education together with Office for Climate Education, for example, and education for sustainable development. But this is our core business. We are not just looking into this science, technology, innovation. I'm going to short it to STI, not just limited to the STI policy, but now we are moving into this STI diplomacy and also advocacy, because it is very important to make sure that people are aware what's going on, not until the end when the policy is already being implemented. And to support this, research ecosystem is huge. This is what we are working on right now, not limited to bilateral but multilateral. So that's why at the end I'm going to talk a little bit more on the partnership. And of course there are many innovation under this, and one of the particular is the artificial and digital innovation, because this is something very new, is aggressive. So I do hope that after this today's engagement, we'll open new avenues for collaboration and long-term partnership. So I think we always talk about music and sports that uniting people, but at its core, science, people seldom talk about, because science is a universal language. We have many shared challenges, particularly in the global south. So I may talk a little bit more on the global south, but we now have to find like kind of a shared solution and also a shared future, because accelerating progress demands sustained investment in education and research, stronger capacity building programs, and deeper collaboration across sectors and region. So by doing so, we can deliver even a greater impact. So we're talking from science to the society. So in this case, we are not also limited to just South-South cooperation, but also involve the triangular cooperation, meaning that between Global South and the Global North. And of course, the International Decade of Sciences for Development, Sustainable Development, that's supporting the SDG. So we from here, ISTIC stands or basically support your efforts, particularly what you call these to amplify diverse voices, to strengthen a partnership that translate knowledge into real world impact. And in particular, we must prioritize the inclusion and empowerment of women as agents of change, particularly in STEM, recognizing that diverse perspective enrich science, strengthen innovation outcomes that lead to more socially responsive policies and practices. So we want something that can be practiced, yeah? Because we saw that there are many STI policies or policies that basically they are just good on paper, but how to translate, how to implement it. So this is one of our focus. So yet many countries, particularly in the Global South, face what I described as an innovation paradox. Innovation is also universal as it transcends boundaries, borders, cultures, or economies. However, when we talk about this, at your own country, there is no shortage of talent. There is no lack of research output and no absence of creativity as well. But however, innovation outcomes remain uneven. So why this thing happen? Yeah, because innovation does not occur in isolation. It depends on policy coherence, institutional capacity, trust. This is very important. If you want to have a partner, you have the trust. So trust-based partnerships and science-informed leadership. So there's another challenge about leadership, particularly in this innovation when we talk about this. So innovation must normally travel a full journey from discovery to development to deployment and ultimately to the societal impact. And in many countries, particularly in the developing context, the middle journey remains weak, with limited translational mechanism linking research to application and market uptake. So at ISTIC UNESCO, we view science policy not as a regulatory constraint, but somehow as a catalytic instrument. So since 2009, for example, we have a collaboration between ISTIC and KISTAP, the Korean Institute of Science, Technology and Policy, for this STI policy training. So we have, I think, hundreds of our alumni because this program runs yearly basis with about 20 to 30 participants per year. And last year, we focused really into this innovation. And we also have with the ISTIC NAM SNT Center Capacity Enhancement Program since 2016. And basically, we have many other types of program as well. So this brings me to the need for us to rethinking innovation leadership. In a rapidly changing world, leadership in SDI no longer about command and control. The success of innovation ecosystem ultimately either rises or falls on the quality of leadership that shapes their direction and coherence. Policy when designed well creates permission for innovation to happen. It reduces structural barriers, especially in our country, we have so many barriers. Then we hope that it can align the research agendas with the societal needs. And I think it's more important as well, the establish predictable and inclusive ecosystem, which innovators like you can thrive. We are having this kind of problem because our ecosystem limiting us to move forward. Yeah, so in order for us to come out, for maybe to come out into looking at this leadership, we must seek that effective leaders must understand science policy, appreciate entrepreneurial risk, because there are very high risk when we entering, especially from the as a researcher to an entrepreneur. We have to value social impact and navigate institutional and geopolitical complexity. In the global south, leaders must simultaneously balance development priorities, the limited resources, and because you have to compete at the global scale. So global competitiveness is also one of the criteria for these effective leaders. So I found that STI leadership is unique. It is about orchestrating conditions where innovation can flourish or thrive responsibly. So finally, when we talk about this, innovation today must be inclusive. Ethical is very important. Sometimes we miss this word, ethical, socially responsive, and partnership driven. I mean, no country can build a strong innovation ecosystem alone. So in this case, the South-South and Triangular Cooperation offer powerful mechanism to share policy experience, build institutional capacity, and also co-develop context innovation model. So at ISTIC UNESCO, we advocate the co-creation in many different things. Yeah, for example, co-design the policies, the research agenda, and co-building innovation institutions. So that ecosystem are not only globally informed, but also locally owned. It is very important at this point. So we must move beyond transactional, what you call these transactional collaborations, towards transformational alliances rooted in inclusivity, trust, and long-term value. So in conclusion, the task before us is clear. We must forge new alliances, strengthen existing collaborations, and develop strategies that convert science policy meaningful dialogue. For example, like this forum, we share insights openly and generate innovative ideas that serve both people and planet. So by bridging boundaries and building futures together, we can ensure that science and innovation become true catalysts for inclusive and sustainable development. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much to the what you call these to the organizer. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. I hand it over to
Thank you very much, Professor Mohamed Bouchardine. It was very, very interesting, and with many points that are aligned with exactly what we want to do. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Professor Amal Amin.
The next speaker will be my friend, Dr. Mobalaji. He's here. Yeah. Mobalaji Oladwin Ojubanjo. Dr. Dewin is a physician and science policy leader with over 25 years of professional experience, including 17 years dedicated to public health, science communication, and science advice. He played a central role in transforming the Nigerian Academy of Sciences into a service-oriented institution, providing evidence-based policy advice. A former chair of the Association of Public Health Physicians of Nigeria, Lagos, he contributed to national responses to Ebola and COVID-19 and strengthened science media engagement. He is the pioneer chair of INGSA Africa and currently serves on the global board of the International Science Council, actively advancing science advice and global health collaboration across Africa and internationally. Additionally, he is my friend as well. Yeah, the floor is yours, Dr. Dewin.
Thank you.
Here.
Yeah.
Hello.
You've been very gracious, and I'm happy that after all I put you an arena through. The best thing you've said to me this morning about me is that I'm your friend. So I'm happy to hear I'm still your friend. Along with that was my apology, for being quite difficult in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, sorry.
It's been a tough period. But when Nerina reached out to me, and my first instinct was to say, no, I can't do this. I'm not available. But when she mentioned Amal, I said, oh my God, I can't say, you know.
Thanks a
Uh,
lot.
I said no also in the past, where you graciously invited me to Egypt, and I still didn't come. So this time around, I said, no, I can't do that. I'll be in big trouble, you know. So I had to say
Thanks a lot.
thank you, Narina, for your patience. I really deeply apologize. It's not my usual personality to be so difficult to communicate with. But I can't explain all that here. But thank you. So that said, I want to just look at it and speak from the perspective of how research and innovation is important for development. And I think that the missing bit of that is something that Professor Mohammed just did mention about the middle point in one of his slides. You know, that middle point is where the issues are. And that's where in my career, even though I trained as a physician, I spent the last 2 decades or so dealing with that middle point, you know, looking at how you connect science to society, how you connect science for development. And those have been my roles at the Academy, Nigerian Academy of Science, uh, more widely the academies on the continent that I've had the privilege of interacting with, and a few, you know, globally, like the US Academy, the Royal Society, that I do deal with. You know, it's trying to shape and ensure that that space is actually properly breached. And same with INSA Africa, which is the International Network for Government Science Advice, where we look at capacity building, particularly for science advice or for evidence-informed policy making. And of course, now on a more global role on the board of the International Science Council. It used to be that countries had advantages, you know, because you have natural resources, you know, be it oil, be it gold, be it, I mean, more recent times, things like lithium and all of that have become more and more important. And it used to be that that was the advantage that a country would have, or even an advantage like low-cost labor. You know, that's what you would use as your global competitiveness. Because at the end of the day, what we're all looking for is socio-economic development, sustainable one. You know, but now it's since been established that the real sustainable advantage you can have lies within research and innovation. You know, it's your ability to research things properly, innovate properly. That's where your sustainable advantage really lies. Because for one, you solve very complex problems. And in this day and age we live in, we're dealing with wicked problems, as some will refer to them. You know, we saw, I mean, we're dealing with climate change, for instance. It has many angles from which you can bite it. It has many tentacles, and it's complex. It's very complex, and you'll have to research into all kinds of things. You know, renewable energy. You research into battery capacity. You're looking at, you know, alternative energy, electric vehicles. You start researching into the capacity of batteries and all of that. You research into carbon capture and all kinds of things. Now, within all of those things lie, you know, economic development. Within all of those things lie entrepreneurship opportunities. But the foundation or the driving force is research and innovation. We deal with problems like we've seen in recent times, healthcare problems or health problems, like COVID-19, which basically shut down everything, shut down the whole world, which for many of us was like a movie, quite an incredible movie, you know, to see the world shut down and everybody is just there. People got stuck in, you know, countries where they went for on holiday, where they went for a meeting, some for 6 months and all of that. It's incredible that something like that could shut down the world. And then to see that we were scrambling for solutions, you know, and the solution could come from only from research and innovation. So finding a vaccine, finding it on time, which again leads to its own debate, How can it be found so quickly? But then the answer was research and innovation. And whoever had that research, there were companies that now became multi-billion-dollar companies because they were at the forefront of that research and that innovation. And so they finding the vaccines took them to the top of the ladder, as it were, and of course shot up the economy of those countries that they belong to. We can also talk, of course, about food security, the kinds of plans and economic studies you can do there. But so that's one side of it, solving complex problems. We can talk about, the brain drain grain or brain gain debate. When you fund research and innovation, you stand a greater chance of retaining, talents and even attracting more talents. The more you fund it, the more the talents come because your economy, it's like when you fund research, you ensure, like we've just given some examples, good economic development, new business startups, and all of that. And all of that will require human resources. First, it means that the talents you have would not leave because the opportunities are there. But it also means that global talents will be a direction because they also need those opportunities to be able to express their giftings, as it were. Of course, within it also, we can talk about, a country's autonomy or security. So if you are into good research and it connects to the society, solves the society's problems, then you have country autonomy and security. So there are countries where you you are dependent on food imports, then that country is not secure. It's very easy to have problems, have uprisings, and what have you, because you shut down that importation, there's trouble. So it's totally important. And of course, in this day and age, I must mention uh, the importance, for instance, for research and innovation in cybersecurity and artificial intelligence. If you are not looking at all of that again for country autonomy and security, then that's a country or a place at risk because of the things that can be done positively and negatively. So the key or the summary of what I'm saying is invest in research and development or innovation, or research and development will give you innovation, and that in turn will give you economic growth. And coming from all kinds of enterprises showing up. And of course, as these enterprises come up, which are based on the research and innovation, they also pay taxes and what have you. So the country benefits as a whole. So as I try to just stop, because I think my minutes are up, let me just mention very quickly three reasons why there's that mismatch, between the research and the real society. And one is that we're doing research that doesn't start with the end in mind. Research that doesn't first look at real world problems that we are trying to solve, especially in some parts of the world. We don't still do research that way. We do research for publications and academic promotion. Second is that we prioritize the publications and all that and things like that over IP protection. How do you ensure the intellectual property protection? In places like Nigeria, most people have no clue. How do I register my patent? How do I get protected? The institutions also don't support the researcher enough in that regard. And lastly, of course, there are funding constraints, because if you move research to commercialization or entrepreneurship and all of that, you need money. Things like developing prototypes of what you've worked on and all that costs money, and most research grants won't give you money for that kind of thing. It's for the basic research you're doing. So I think ultimately that's my point this morning, is that research and innovation is an imperative for development. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, dear friend. Please keep with us till the end, where we will receive questions. Please put your questions at the comment. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Narina.
Thank you so much for this very insightful contribution. I would like to introduce now Dr. Anna Matros Corezes. She's president of SARIMA and executive director, Research Innovation Partnership at Namibia University of Science and Technology. She leads research, governance, innovation system, and university industry partnerships. An accomplished water scientist with expertise in climate resilience and the water energy food nexus. She holds a PhD from Cranfield University and brings over 20 years of applied research and policy experience across Southern Africa. She's going to present on From Institution to Connections, the power of university-led networks in creating innovation value at scale. Very happy to have you with us, Dr. Ana Matros Goreses.
Good morning. Thank you so much. And very happy to be here as well. While I would like to also just share my screen.
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go. There we go. You can see my screen now, okay?
Yes, perfect.
All right, so thank you once again. And let me begin by warmly acknowledging Professor Amin, the chair of the session, and also the entire organizing team for the kind invitation. When I looked at the program and the outline and the caliber of speakers gathered here today, I was really excited to be part of the conversation. So it is exactly the kind of space where science, policy, innovation, and leadership really must meet, not just in theory, but in practice. So thank you for that. I would like to speak today just very briefly on the theme From Institutions to Connections, the power of university-led networks in creating innovation value at scale. And I would like to draw from my experience as the president of SARIMA, Southern Africa Research Innovation Managers Association, and also just one or two practical examples on the ground. So I would like to start with a very generic question. And in general, why universities matters. And I know this has been discussed in many instances, but as we know, universities, and especially one of the speakers already talked about the changing landscape. So yes, universities still do matter and has always been there because they are trusted, there's continuity, there's credibility. On overall, universities are natural or neutral conveners across the sectors. They sit at the intersection of science, policy, industry, society, all of these things that we normally talk about. Without grounded ethical research as your common denominator, it ultimately lacks what we're trying to do, right? All of us here coming from a research background and so on. But if we bring it a bit closer, we are now talking about innovation. So much has changed. And when we talk about innovation, as we all know here, we are really talking about the fact that we can no longer scale scales because institutions are excellent in isolation. And this is what the previous speaker also talked about, so we are looking at how we can become intentional about our connections across institutions. It really requires a shift in thinking. How do we lead as leaders innovation systems between institutions, really, and leverage on the connections that we are talking about? And I like the women in science across borders, and this is exactly what I'm talking about here, because it is across borders. And having said that, I would like to then come to my next point of saying, how does that put us as leaders, or what is the position that what I've just mentioned put us out there as leaders? Because now we are looking at leadership that we have to reframe. right? Innovation leadership today is something that we now have to think about from a cultivation perspective rather, and let's rather think about succession planning and mentoring, because ultimately it's the sustainability. This is something that we've been battling with quite a bit, because a lot of times you get this notion of, yeah, are we building leaders in universities, or are we just filling positions? And when we're filling those positions, we need to think of what are we talking about at the end of the day? And that is where we are talking about now. How do we create environments where the next generation can experiment, they can learn, they can fail safely and grow? And a lot of it is really within the space of entrepreneurship. Now, before I move there, allow me to just talk about, and this is where I'm coming in to say, it goes beyond institutions. So when you have a university-led network, which is what Sarima essentially is all about, you're talking about really looking at a network for scale. And when we say that we are Southern Africa, yes, but we are also on continental, convener, because we are on the African continent. So Rima has one of the really mature, if I can use that word, networks in the system. And we are looking at how can we strengthen each other? Where can we leverage from each other? And I know Professor Amin is from Anarima. And so we are talking about Africa engagement here. We're talking research management, innovation, technology transfer. And we've been also very successful in our networks when it comes to capacity builder. We have great training material, training that is out there for the network beyond institutions to benefit. And like one of the speakers said, it's the trust that we're talking about. It's a safe space where communities of practice can convene and share these ideas that we are talking about ultimately, because we are looking at that journey from knowledge to impact. And so when we're talking of beyond institutions, then the Sarima is one of them. But beyond that, we have last year launched what we call the Panrima, which is combining all the research innovation management associations across the continent. As a collective. And this is what I'm talking about, leadership with mentoring in mind. So so the initiatives like Panrima, we are really intentionally connecting institutions, professionals. We are saying that within research and innovation management, it is a profession. When we were growing up, we used to say, when people asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was common, it's a medical doctor, it's a scientist, a lawyer. But nowadays, research management is a profession. Innovation management is a profession. And so we are promoting that through the networks as well, so that innovation does not remain local, but it becomes transferable and, more importantly, scalable. Let me share with you a very, very quick example from what we do in the Namibia University of Science and Technology. We have a physical space, as you can see there, a six-floor building where we've got industry partners present on campus. So the idea here is we partner with industry partners, but we bring the students on board, the researchers on board, and the industry partners also, not because we are helping them with product development, but we are all collectively co-creating products that are owned jointly in that space. So we've got various partners within Namibia and beyond, where we are looking at co-creating within that. And we have also recently then taken that into social innovation, where we have what we call the NAST Innovation Hub. And this is just an example of what we're practically doing. And many people now ask me, okay, Anna, so if you are talking about that, how does that get to the community? How does that add the value that we ultimately need? And we are saying, but this is exactly what we're saying. the students is a different level of community. They bring it, they come here, they learn, they take it back to community. So ultimately, we are saying it's not just technology transfer, but it's knowledge transfer in its best. Another one before I can go on is also talking of the Gates project. We have a Gates EU project where we're looking at, but also Gates Foundation under Sarima. We've been looking at how we then again talk about this mentoring component, how institutions that are a little bit more mature than others then help each other and then build each other. Speaking of that, we now have under the University Industry Co-Creation Project, we have developed what we call a 5 to 10 framework. And here we are saying, looking at all the literature that is there, we try to create 5 levels of maturity when it comes to entrepreneurship, or an institution that is looking at becoming an entrepreneurial university, for example. And then you've got those 5 levels of maturity and then 10 steps to be able to do that. But the most important point, it's not a linear process. And you don't need to strive for level 5 of maturity, because remember, it's at scale, it's in context. So for example, in Namibia, we strive to be matured at a level 3 already. And that really means that we have a physical space, we have industry collaboration, and we have academic programs that also includes practical components where the students can be then exposed, irrespective of the disciplines that they study. This is my last slide, where I would just really like to bring together to say it's not about diminishing the role of institutions, not at all. Universities, research councils, ministries, industry partners, they are all absolutely essential, but on their own, they do not scale impact. So we are looking at, in a new space where we're looking at institutions that create knowledge, connections that create value, intentional networks like your Sarima, like your Narima, and all of that. And we're saying, how well do we then, as leaders, bring that together? So the leadership is the connector that we need to look at, and connections create value, and networks turns excellence into impact. I would like to thank you with that. We have our annual conference that happens every year. Ours is going to be in September. And at that network, at the conference, we always have a directors forum where we have all the leaders come together. We close the door and we open our minds and we discuss. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you at the Sarima conference at the end of this year. Thank you so much, Professor.
Thanks, Dr. Anna. By the way, the young generations because of money, so that a low number of them would like to be scientists or research managers, even football players. What do you see?
Exactly.
Anyway, thanks a lot for your lecture. The next speaker will be Professor Naveen Makram Labib. Please bear with us. Yeah.
Okay.
Professor Naveen Makram Labib is the chair of ISFTEH Switzerland and chair of CIS Department at Sadat Academy for Management Sciences in Egypt. International AI governance expert with over 20 years of experience in digital transformation, health informatics, and AI security. Recognized globally for advancing ethical AI, women's leadership, and inclusive digital policy. The title of her lecture will be Empowering the Future, the Nexus of AI Governance Vision. And she is one of our collaborators in Women in Science Without Borders. The floor is yours, Professor Naveen.
Thank you very much. And I'm already a very important introduction is that I'm a friend of both of you, of Narina.
Yeah, of course you are a friend.
Since now I should add it to ladies and gentlemen and distinguished guests, I'm really happy to be with you. Thanks again for reaching out to me and for inviting me to this magnificent session. I will share my slides. Oh. So can you see the slides now?
Yes.
Okay. So again, as you introduced my talk, I'll be talking about how to empower the future. Empowering the future, how can we link the AI governance innovation? As you introduced me, just a quick introduction for myself. I'm currently sharing the Department of Computer Academy for Management Sciences, and I've been appointed as the Vice President of the Egyptian Society for Information Systems and Computer Technology. I started the AI Governance and Digital Health Working Group. It's affiliated to the International Society for Telemedicine and E-Health that is currently based in Switzerland. And I'm also serving as a board member for the International Institute of Telemedicine in Italy, and the advisory board member of the Economic Observatory using Artificial Intelligence, and that's affiliated to Cairo University. So basically, my work is around teaching, training, and cooperating in some of the policy papers, so as to be sure to include the governance as a main topic. Now back to 2015, we have the 17 sustainable goals that are very important to all of us since we're talking to an international audience. But my talk will be mainly focused on goal number 5. How can we achieve the gender equality and how can we empower all women and girls? But in this case, I'll be using AI for this empowerment and for providing equity. Why are we talking about this topic nowadays? It became a very hot issue to talk about the AI governance. It's very clear. AI revolution, we have advances at a very high speed, whereas for the lawmakers, they can barely follow us. And that's the problem, having this gap between the AI technologies, all of the emerging technologies, and the laws that should regulate the use of such technologies. And that's why we're talking about governance, and that's why governance really matters. So here we're talking about this framework should be able to make sure that all of the usage of the AI technologies, education, whether we're talking about healthcare, and so on, it needs to be AI for good. That's the core of having AI governance. Sorry, so we're talking here about including everyone. So it's not AI for some, but it is AI for all. Okay, now we have worldwide a diversity gap. Why? Because we as women, we only represent, based on the latest studies, we only represent 22 to 26% of this world, of the people who are developing AI systems. What's the implication of these studies? It's very risky. Why? Because, as we all know, when we rely on an AI system, we're mainly relying on 2 points. First, having data, and second, having algorithm. So if these data are biased, and if these data are not inclusive, and if these data do not represent everyone, then the second step will be kind of training all of the algorithms on biased data, and then we get biased results. And with these results, we present them to the policymakers and to the decision takers, and we end up having kind of biased and unfair decisions. So we need to start by having kind of regulations and kind of testing and kind of validation, so as to make sure that all of these data that is fed into the systems are proper, are good, and mainly are not biased. Why? Because AI reflects its creators. So we're talking here about innovation, but an inclusive one. So we need to bridge the gap. We need to make sure that we have no biases and that no one is left behind. That's why when we talk about inclusive AI, we're not talking about only a moral issue, but we're talking about a technical necessity. If we need to have accurate, if we need to have fair outcomes, if we need to have inclusion and equity, then we should mainly rely on having this framework and on having it worldwide. So what about women? What is the addition? When we include women in the policy-making process, what do we have in addition to not including them? We have a very important point, that is the emotional intelligence aspects. Here we're not only talking about having nice emotions, that's not the core of it, but we're talking about being able to understand ourselves, and others' emotions, and to accommodate all of these emotions and to have better outcomes. Because when we talk about the SDGs, we're not only tackling the economic outcomes, but we focus more on the societal outcomes. And that's the importance of having the emotional intelligence aspects whenever we're dealing with any policies. So here we're talking about women who can embed and who can add this aspect. We've witnessed lately many female leaders in many initiatives, whether we're talking about the EU or the UN. We have more women being included so as to be able to assure that we have this equity in the data, in training the algorithm, and in having fair outcomes. So I thought about proposing kind of a framework that can help to empower the future and that can help to have better outcomes and that can help to achieve the societal outcomes of all of the SDGs. First of all, we need to assure that we have a sovereign governance. So we need to have a body that is independent and that is making sure to protect our data and making sure to provide the right data, the good data, into these systems, and making sure to apply all the rules that assure the equity and the fairness. Second is the leadership parity. That's very important. We need to have equality. We need to have women included in all of the initiatives so as to make sure that these initiatives are representing everyone and that, again, no one is left behind. A third and very important pillar is the education, because without education and without research, we cannot achieve anything. So here we need to educate women to be part of it and to be really a benefit for all of this policy making process. So that's the 3-pillar framework that I suggested so as to be able to implement in reality and to empower women and to have better outcomes. That's why I sought to have a call to action. This call to action means that we need to have mandatory transparency. We have a problem with artificial intelligence technologies. For all of us, we need to know that when we rely on the deep learning and when we rely on the machine learning, we face one main problem, which is the black box issue. What do we mean by black box? Black box is saying that we reached a certain decision, but not being able to justify or to explain why we reached this specific decision. And that represents a problem of trust for the end users. My work is mainly focused on healthcare. So whenever we present such systems to healthcare professionals, they ask us the reason why we reached a certain decision. And most of the times we cannot provide any answers. That's why worldwide right now, we're talking about a new trend, which is the XAI. Having explainable AI is a main issue and is the first action that we need to work on. What do you mean by having this explainable AI? It's being able to be transparent, being able to explain, to justify, and to defend why we reached a certain decision. That's the main point here. Second is the global collaboration. We need to be able to harmonize standards across borders because with AI technologies and with all of the emerging technologies, it's not related to certain continent or to a certain country. So if we're talking about governance, then we need to have kind of international standards and international regulations to follow worldwide. And this requires collaboration. This requires events such as this one, forums, and having many conversations and some brainstorming sessions to us to be able to reach these regulations and to be able to find some tools and techniques so as to be able, again, to apply it in all of the countries. The third very important point is the mentorship. If we're talking about empowering the future, then we need the next generation of female pioneers to know more about AI technologies, to know more about the problems that we're facing when we do not include inclusive data, and to be able to be pioneers in this domain. So we need to mentor the next generation of female pioneers who will see AI as a tool for equity, not just efficiency. We're talking about providing better and providing societal outcomes of all of the SDGs and making sure that with our research and with our educational programs, we can achieve this. That's why I think that artificial intelligence should empower humanity, but it should not replace its diversity. It should be able to respect all of us, to include all of us. I'm Naveen Makram, and I believe that the future is not just artificial, but it is also inclusive. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Naveen Makram. Professor Amal Amin.
Thanks, Professor Naveen, for this talk, because now AI is interesting topic and hot topic for all of us, but you indicated how much it can be human as well. Now, since no questions, I will ask my own question to transfer to the second session, because unfortunately some guests would like to leave us. So that for all speakers, for the 5 honorable speakers, no 4 because Hayat Sindi left. For the 4 speakers, I have common question and the comment as well. Since the current version of the World Forum for Women in Science, for the World Forum for Science, Innovation and Entrepreneurship today is dedicated to Africa. Our forum today dedicated to Africa. But Africa, as large and rich continent, still have problems and separation from science and its outputs and its impact in society. So that from your personal point of view and from your experience, what's your quick recommendation or recipe to promote this situation faster and effective, the situation of science and technology and innovation in Africa and its based entrepreneurship to transfer Africa to knowledge or science-based economy in 2 minutes each. Maybe we can begin with Naveen.
And Professor Naveen, could you please be so kind and stop the sharing so that we can see you better? Thank you so much.
Yeah, maybe we can begin with Naveen. Short recommendation or short recipe
I believe
from your experience.
Okay,
2 minutes, Naveen, only.
1 minute. I stick to time with my presentation. So, no, I believe that since we're all here, then you, Professor Amal, can start a working group, and this working group in 1 minute should be able to study the current status, because in Africa we have many common problems, and then to have kind of an action plan that we can implement, and with this action plan, a true one, we will tackle all of our problems, like the model that we had in Egypt with the genome project. So if we start having a working group, maybe a representative from each of the countries of Africa who are really interested in this domain, then we can come up with a real study, a SWOT analysis for what's going on, and then an action plan with timings and with people who can be responsible and with success factors, so as to ensure that we're really towards solving our problems. And maybe we can take just one pilot project, like for education, for special needs, for healthcare, whatever. This will be done after having the study, and we work on it in a practical way. Thank you very much.
So that maybe your recommendation goes for networking, multidisciplinary and the transdisciplinary networking, because I know that there are several action plans and still we have problems. So that's more recommendation as trans and multidisciplinary networks. Thanks a lot.
Thank
The
you.
next speaker, Professor Pasha. Please, my question. You remember or we lost you?
Yes. Okay, can you? All right. I think I also like to be quick.
Small recommendation, 1-2
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, I think through ISTIC UNESCO, we have have a lots of discussion with not just one country but several country. And one of our initiative is Afrasia, meaning that Africa and Asia. So in this, as I mentioned earlier, is more partnership. It's not limited to one country bilateral, but we have to take into several different countries. And elevating Africa in global innovation ecosystem requires moving from fragmented initiative to coherent mission-driven systems. And of course, in this particular area, for example, water issue, food security, One Health. So everything that we have to look into, cohesively. And second, we must invest. I know that it's going to be challenging, but investment, particularly in talent pipelines and translational pathway. So that's why through our initiative, the Afrasia, we are not just talking about research grant, but we are talking about the talent not limited to young or early career, but we like to focus for these mid-career researchers because we have to take care of them. Yeah, because otherwise the system may collapse. Okay, and many other than that, the inclusive innovation that empowers women and youth, I think Africa is actually a good example. So with the right policies, partnership, leadership, I think Africa can move from being an emerging innovation landscape to a global innovation engine. Thank you.
Yeah. So that also emphasized on the importance of networking, mid-career. I agree with you because all funds to the young or the high seniors, but mid-career as well, very important. Also to partnerships, because we have several action plans all over the world, so that we have to work together. It's time. The next, Professor Dewan. Dewan, my friend. Dewan, you still with us? Maybe we lost him.
No.
He's still here?
Yes.
Maybe Anna can share her points until we will find Dewan.
All right. No, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
From my perspective and from Southern Africa's perspective, Professor, as you know, the issue is not necessarily capacity or lack of ideas, or absence of science and all of that. We have strong universities, capable researchers, innovative entrepreneurs, and so on. I think it's fragmentation, yes, like it was said, but also from a leadership perspective, I would like us to maybe encourage that the leadership, there's a deliberate shift from leading organizations to leading within networks, prioritizing succession planning, mentoring ecosystems rather than individuals, and designing systems where research, innovation, and entrepreneurship is intentionally but structurally linked. I will stop
Okay.
there.
Thanks a lot. Dewan, you are here? Dewan? Okay, maybe we lost him.
No, but
Okay,
he's here.
he's still here?
Dr. Mobalayo Ladain, can you hear me? Yes,
Okay,
please.
no problem.
Please.
Hey.
He's here? Okay,
Go
Dewan. Yeah. We need your comment.
Yeah.
I can repeat again your point. How to make the African, especially the African economy, to be knowledge or in science-based economy. From your experience, I know that you have some efforts in science advice now in Global Science Council and so on. How to transfer or to bridge this gap between science and society and its economy? impact, and so on.
Well, I'll emphasize the popular thing on funding, and that is that we just have to invest in science, technology, innovation, in research. When I look within the landscape, I see that a lot of research, or in fact, too many researches that are really good, strong, innovative, are funded from outside the continent. And I think that's ridiculous. I think that's holding us back. Many times we think we don't have enough funding, to invest in research, but that's not true. We can't afford not to, because it has a dual purpose. It's not just for the researchers. It actually ensures that when you put your money where your mouth
Hello?
is, you pay more attention to the research that is being done, the type of research. You also pay attention to using that research, because you paid for it. So I think it's very important that we develop effective research granting institutions and effective mechanisms, both nationally and transnationally on the continent. I think under COVID, we had one Africa-wide call for grants, and was part of those assessing it. And I think it wasn't very fair to other people outside of the country where it was domiciled. So it's that kind of scenario you get. But that's the only example I can think of at the moment. And in most cases, I ask young mid-career scientists, and I say, if you had a great idea and you wanted to do this great thing and research into it, tell me 3 institutions you would approach for funding. Most of them stop at one, on the continent, and sometimes at none. So that's ridiculous. I think that needs to change. Thank you.
You raised the important point, Basha raised it, that investment, because there is great difference between funding and investment. And also, I raised this point at my last conference in Equitable Partnership. We need national investment, not all from outside, national investment. We need to make science as a priority from the national side, so that the investment will be in favor of different very important issues like internet, like how to employ AI inside many other national issues and so on, because always the national priorities sometimes differ than the international agendas. So that maybe we can reach to the end of our session by several keywords like leadership, networks, multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary, mentoring, investment, partnerships. So many keywords. So at the end, I want to thank you all as speakers. We're running out of time and we need to reach to the next session. So that thank you, Dewin. Thanks to Anna. Thanks to Basha. Thanks to Hayat Cindy. And thanks to Niveen. And please bear with us to the next session. Thanks to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all. The dialogue will continue. Keep with us.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone, and please stay here with us. Now I will introduce the first speaker of the next conversation is Onye Okolo. She's a Policy and Partnership Officer at the Tony Elumelu Foundation, a leading philanthropy empowering young entrepreneurs across all 54 African countries. She works on building and managing strategic partnership across the public, private, and development sector to expand support for African entrepreneurship. Please, the floor is yours, and we are really happy to have you here. I know that you have to leave pretty soon, but I hope that you can find the time to present what you had prepared. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for the introduction. My name is Onye Okolo, and as Narina has mentioned, I work as a Policy and Partnerships Officer at the Tony Elumelu Foundation. I'm very excited to be speaking with you all today, although it's a very short session for me. At the foundation, as you mentioned, we're committed to funding, training, and coaching entrepreneurs across Africa. And more importantly, we're committed to supporting women entrepreneurs as a key pillar of the work that we do, in part to create jobs, to eradicate poverty, and to empower young women across Africa. And so in all of our interventions, we are ensuring that we are achieving or striving for gender balance in the pool of applications we receive from across the continent, and then also in the entrepreneurs that we go ahead to fund. To date, we've run this program now for the last 12 years, and to date, we're about 50% of our program pool is made up of women entrepreneurs. And we think, of course, this is extremely crucial, extremely important, because we know that women are key to growth and development across the continent. We know that women tend to replicate the funding that they receive. We've seen a lot more household improvement and a lot more growth when women are at the helm of affairs. With regards to innovation, as well as listening to lots of the conversation earlier, one of the things that we do at the foundation is ensuring that we're an agile organization, that we're learning and that we're improving and that we're updating our program offerings to entrepreneurs as we go ahead. And so we've, in the last 2 years also now, focused a lot more on green entrepreneurship. So this is targeting entrepreneurs within the green ecosystem who are creating ideas and businesses that are related to, one, reduction of waste, ensuring that the environment is safe and free of harm and free of pollution. Additionally, now we're also focused on technology, right, and the use of artificial intelligence for businesses. How can businesses use artificial intelligence to be smarter, to make more informed decisions in their day-to-day operations, and of course also in the jobs that they eventually will create? How are they leveraging artificial intelligence? And so these are some of the things that we're now tracking and we're measuring through the training program that we offer to entrepreneurs, the grants of $5,000 that each entrepreneur receives, and then of course also with the monitoring and evaluation and the research arm of the work that the foundation does as well, which is to say, how are we taking these entrepreneurs from being small businesses? We're now leveraging different tools, digital tools, and AI tools as well to become more innovative across their operations in Africa. To date, the foundation has funded over 24,000 young entrepreneurs, and we look forward to continuing to do so. We work very closely with partners from UNDP, the EU, GIZ, IKEA Foundation, UNICEF, the African Development Bank, and a host of other organizations in service of entrepreneurship on the continent. And we look forward to supporting more women entrepreneurs, more women who are creating innovative solutions to some of Africa's hardest problems. And we're really excited to have been invited to join the session today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us today, and thank you so much for your words. And we really look forward to further collaborations and to keep on, what we are doing. And I know that you have to go, so that I thank you and see you soon again. Thank you so much.
The next speaker will be Dr. Anna Ikilidu. She is the Executive Director of Afri Labs, a Pan-African network of more than 500 innovation hubs across 53 countries, founder and Timbuktu Africa Innovation Foundation, UNDP initiative. She serves on multiple international councils, including World Economic Forum, Global Future Council, and ITU networks, and is recognized as one of Africa's leading digital ecosystem builders and economic transformation advocates. The floor is yours, Dr. Anna. And sorry for mix up between Anna, two Annas at the same session. But it's luck, by the way. It's luck. It's our luck that we have two Annas.
Yes, thank you. And I'm absolutely honored to be sharing the stage with Dr. Anna. I mean, just listening to her interventions earlier and speaking about the innovation ecosystem and the work they do.
It's our honor as well. It's our honor.
I work. Exactly.
It's our honor, really.
So I'm going to share my screen. I know. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to share my screen now. And please confirm if you can see my screen and
we
hear
see it.
me.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for having me on the panel today. Thank you, Dr. Nerina Finetto, for this opportunity. I'm honored. My session today would be focused on the topic of my session today is from knowledge to societal transformation, building innovation ecosystems that translate science into scalable impacts, right? Now, the organization I run, AfriLabs, what are we? We're basically Africa's largest innovation network that are focused on building a community around innovation hubs that support innovators, youth, entrepreneurs, creatives across the continent. So at the moment, we have over 500 Innovation Hub members. We also take a multi-stakeholder engagement approach, working with innovators, development agencies, policymakers, investors, corporates, academia, in the work we do. And we basically operate across various sectors, right? So we focus on cross-sectoral tech and innovation enablement. Now, our reach and impact were across 53 African countries and the diaspora as well, across over 200 African cities. And over the past year, since 2011, since we started, we've impacted over 2 million innovators and innovation enablers across multiple sectors. If we count the collective power of our community, it's much more. So this 2 million is through interventions. Now, our mission is to support innovation hubs and their communities to raise high potential entrepreneurs that will stimulate economic growth and social development in Africa. Now, when it comes to the topic we are discussing today, right? I'll first like to talk about the opportunity, right? And of course, the opportunity is also embedded in some of the challenges we have. And I'll take a few sectors as an example because it's quite broad. If we look at the energy sector, for example, over 600 million Africans lack access to electricity, right? If you look at the remaining numbers of Africans, then we would have to ask ourselves questions around affordable electricity access, reliable electricity access. These are some of the challenges we face. But yet, Africa has 60% of the world's best solar resources, but only 2% of global renewable investments, just 2%, you know. Dr. Mobolaji earlier in his closing statement mentioned the importance of investment. These are some of the challenges we face. Now, in terms of education, you know, over 830 million of the African population are youth, youth between the ages of 15 to 35 by 2050. Fastest working age population, and yet there's a skills gap that hinders job creation and innovation. But of course, the new demographic also presents an opportunity in terms of health. You know, a high emergence of climate and disease burden affecting millions of Africans annually, and healthcare innovation is critical for resilience, you know, considering the fact that millions don't have access to affordable and quality healthcare. And in terms of climate action, as of 2022, you know, there are over $8.5 billion in climate damages, and there's a critical and urgent need for adaptation research. Now, investment in research innovation systems could unlock, you know, a lot of potential for the African continent. In terms of energy access revolution, we could get up to 300 gigawatts of energy across different types of energy sources. And this is the African Union target by 2030. This could power 300 million people and create over 4 million clean energy jobs. Now, powering people isn't just about the light. Of course, we all understand this. It also has health implications, education implications, maternal health implications, and the likes. In terms of economic growth, these numbers I would always say is conservative. By the time you add AI to it, it just basically multiplies. But over $2.5 trillion value of economic growth if we invest in proper research, innovation frameworks and systems. And some of these sectors are, you know, around agriculture, financial services, health, healthcare, clean energy, and education, all driven by technology. And as I mentioned, with emerging solutions that are AI driven, for example, there's a quantum leap basically that can be achieved. And in terms of human capital, an increase across board in life expectancy of over 75 years with healthcare investment, looking at improved maternal health, disease prevention, climate resilience. Now, let's look at the research innovation pipeline, right? As I mentioned, my presentation basically focused on taking an ecosystem approach because we can't do this in silos, right? And we already see that in silos, each ecosystem player is already doing fantastic work. When you go to the research institute and you look at the university environment, there's fantastic work going on there. When you look at innovation labs, there's fantastic work going on there, supporting startups to build innovative solutions from different sectors. When you look at the real sectors, policy, investment, there's already a lot of work going on in silos. But what we need to do is basically bring all the stakeholders together with a framework that works basically. So when we look at research and knowledge, in terms of the key stakeholders, we have universities, research institutes that generate insights and data. When we look at the innovation development, the development of solutions that can be applied to real world challenges in the different sectors I mentioned earlier. Innovation hubs play a very strong role to play. And some of these innovation hubs are across different establishments. We have the independent ones, the ones even based in universities, corporate government, they exist in different forms, basically. So they basically play the role of incubating ideas that emerge from research and insights, turning research work into real solutions, supporting with mentorship, technical support, building commercialization frameworks as well. Now we look at policy and investment, looking at the role of government, looking at the role of investors, both private and institutional investors that provide frameworks and funding for research innovation frameworks to thrive, right? One of the very important components I know we struggle with on the continent, but there's a lot of work being done to advocate for those is IP laws that actually enable and incentivize research work to be developed into potential commercial solutions. And then, of course, scalable impact, right? So this all leads to scalable impact, market-ready solutions that transform sectors, transform communities, create jobs, and, ultimately lead to economic and social development and growth. Now, I would like to give a very practical case study of a project that we're currently carrying out that speaks to this research and to innovation pathway, and it's called the Emerge program. Now, this is a multi-stakeholder program, right? It's a partnership between the Faculty of Mechanical Engineering and Naval Architecture at the University of Zagreb, Croatia, AfriLabs, European Sustainability Energy Innovation Alliance, ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy, and other academic and innovation partners in Europe and Africa, right? It's quite a large consortium. And the challenge basically that we've seen and we're looking to tackle through Emerge is African policymakers and other stakeholders, right, lack the tools and knowledge to optimize clean energy production. We speak about clean energy, and again, there's a lot of work being done in silos by individuals, businesses, governments, but there's still a lack of that connection between practical research and the sort of solutions that are sustainable as well towards renewable and clean energy that is also affordable and accessible to all. Right. So also looking at issues around inclusion of clean energy into rural areas, women, youth, and the likes, right? While also addressing certain constraints. Now, in terms of the solutions, we've taken 3 main regions and countries, right? So Northwest Africa, looking at Morocco, the Niger River region, looking at Mali and Nigeria, and East Africa, looking at Mozambique, right? And what we're basically doing is co-designing and testing an integrated toolbox and knowledge base through participatory researches, right? Again, bringing all the stakeholders together to do so. Now, because of time, I won't go through the different focus areas and the different countries. But again, to speak to the topic at hand, the different communities that we've brought together, climate science and integrated assessment modeling, communities focus on this, focus on social science and climate policy expertise. And ultimately, everything we're doing is basically to bridge the gap between the scientific community, decision makers, and of course the end users. Now, so every stakeholder basically has their role to play. In terms of AfriLabs, our role
I
basically is to
think it's
connect.
only 1 minute left. Only 1 minute
Okay. No,
left.
this
Okay.
is practically my last slide, so I'm good. So our role is basically to connect innovation hubs and other stakeholders, as well as develop the frameworks for research to innovation frameworks. And we've had so far, it's an ongoing project, but we're already beginning to see some transformative outcomes around the development of tools, around battery assessment, hosting capacity, deployment, the development of renewable energy solutions, such as deployment of power system models in Mozambique, Morocco, and Mali. So basically, that's it. In conclusion, I would say we need to continuously drive approaches like this, invest in research, innovation, infrastructure, and frameworks, support and collaborate with networks and platforms, connecting innovation centers with other stakeholders, enable participatory co-design with communities and skill-proven models like emerge across Africa and across the world, basically. We're well represented here on the panel and the event today. So thank you so much. And again, I appreciate my time and opportunity to present. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So many interesting points. And now I would like to introduce Nabil Aziz Ksibi. He's founder of Nexus Synergy and an open science advocate specialized in research infrastructure, digital ecosystems, and innovation management in Africa and the Arab region. He's member of UNESCO Working Group on Open Science Infrastructures and is actively engaged in RIMA, Pan-RIMA, ORCID, Africa Arxiv, and the Africa PID Alliance, promoting fair and ethical research systems across the global south. It's going to speak about building trusted innovation ecosystems, open science infrastructures as catalyst for inclusive entrepreneurships. It's an honor having you with us, Nabil Ksib.
Thank you, Dr. Nerina, and good morning, everyone. Dear distinguished colleagues, partners, innovators, and friends from all over the world. This is a true honor to join you for the opening of this plenary of the World Forum for Science, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. I would like to warmly thank Professor Amal Amin and you, Dr. Nerima Fineto, and the WFSIE leadership for convening, this timely and ambitious global space. The WF.
1 minute. 1 minute. The screen not changed.
So, yeah.
The screen.
So,
please, Dr. Anna, stop your screen at first.
We are still seeing your screen. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll take the opportunity to share my screen as well.
Yeah.
Right, so hope you can see my screen.
Yes, now it's okay.
All right. So WFSIE begins with a simple but powerful relief. So as my other colleagues and professors shared that science only reaches its full meaning when it improves lives. That belief is not abstract, it's very urgent at the moment. And it really resonates deeply with the work that I'm honored to present today. So I'm gonna go on full screen mode. Sorry, just gonna put this on slide mode. And my presentation today is named Building Trust's Innovation Ecosystem, and the role of open science and infrastructures as catalysts for innovation and entrepreneurship. And this is really resonating with the I in the Narima from where I'm coming and the organization that I'm representing today, and which is the Northern African Research and Innovation Management Association. So without further ado, what is Narima and how we started? So Narima exists to strengthen the foundations that allow science to travel. We work with institutions, not only individuals, but also to build research management capacity, open research cultures, and leadership that can engage globally while responding locally, as you shared, Professor Amal, about the importance of local investment and local entrepreneurship and local funding of such initiatives. So this is how it started, really, with very very initial baby steps. We started in December with the discussion at one of the conferences led by our sister organizations. I think it was Sarima. And then we had the press release, and then we had the publication of the concept note, and then we had the launch of the Narima Egypt chapter in February 2024. And then in Q4, Q2 2026, we hope that we can launch the Tunisian chapter. And then at the end of this year, we're gonna plan on the launch of the Algerian chapter. So that's really the very first baby steps that we are trying to build. And this is where it started, actually in one of the conferences in South Africa, where I can see Professor Amal standing with the one of the founders of the Sarima. This where Dr. Anna also presented today a very beautiful and description on the great work that Sarima is doing. And since then, we started with the Egyptian chapter, where we had really some exciting involvement and interest from a lot of universities from Northern Africa. And we will continue with this commitment to this community and engage further with them and build on top of that. And our values are really around collaboration, knowledge sharing, capacity building. This is what we want to achieve at the end. And for that, we really count on this continental collaboration. And we started with a simple idea that led to something that Dr. Anna also described during her presentation, which is the Panorama network. We are very proud of that, and really are happy that this initiative is alive and born out of some simple ideas in order to unite or federate different research and innovation management associations across Africa into one entity and one body that can lead the way for research, innovation, and management in Africa. So one of the plans, and really where we want to push for advocacy and basically growth and networking, is to work across the continent, to work across different organizations and build this momentum with our different sister organizations. One of the questions that we want to really answer and to have always the answer of is to how much research does North Africa produce? And unfortunately, we do not have a lot of insights and a lot of data around that. So we will try to work on enhancing the infrastructure, adopting existing infrastructures for low budget, let's say, institutions and communities in order to use this open research infrastructure in the best way to achieve connection between systems and connection between community and visibility for the African research and innovators community. Leveraging, of course, the UNESCO Open Science Recommendation and the pillars that UNESCO put together so that we use the right tools and right mechanisms to reveal that. And that, of course, that's aligned with the UNESCO SDGs that are part of our vision and that we hope to basically build and we hope that to use along the way in our activities and services. So how to work with us? Join us as a member if you are from North Africa. Join us as a partner if you are supporting our mission, and then connect with us to talk about Narima project and services. And Narima Egyptian node is the Science for Humanity Global Society. Narima Tunisian node is Nexus Synergy. You can contact us on these emails. Otherwise, please feel free to share your thoughts, your ideas on the chat or after this presentation if you have any open science or open research projects to share with us. And thank you so much for your attention.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Mr. Nabil. Here with us to the end for questions, Dr. Tandy Mugabe.
So I think that our last speakers probably were not able to join. If she is here, please, she should let us know. Otherwise, I will shortly read a message from Heba Abdelaziz Musa Abdallah, who wrote, as Vice President for North Africa of OAAD, I work to support collaboration with research publications. Today's session on Women in Science, optimizing the economic impact of our research and leverage AI was truly inspiring. It reinforced the importance of encouraging and empowering women in the scientific community, especially across Africa. My sincere thanks to all the presenters and organizers, especially Professor Malamin, for making this session possible. Now, thank you so much for this comment.
Thanks a lot.
And now I would like to ask the three speakers still here, similar to the question that we had before. As you have presented what you are doing, you have presented how you are working to empower Africa and the research and entrepreneurs in Africa. But from your perspective, what is the aspect that you are seeing emerging? Or even more, what is the aspect that you would really point out that is missing or that we should speak more about? Please, we can start with Nabil Ksibi. In your opinion, what is the aspect that, beyond your representation, obviously, that we should pay more attention to?
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Nerina. Well, I think that the most important aspect that needs maybe focus during this time is collaboration, especially as many speakers mentioned AI and the advancement in AI. I think the human aspect should also follow and should be aligned with all these technology developments. And to achieve that and to stay strong, facing this new infrastructures, we need more collaboration and gatherings that like this one where we are in today is a very strong proof that the human, let's say, skills and human part of doing things is still very present, more than any other AI model or code or or machine learning systems. So yeah, thank you so much for this gathering, and thank you so much for all the organizers of this conference.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Ana Ekeledo, in your opinion, what is the point that we should pay more attention to beyond what you obviously already presented? Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes.
By the way, I like your work. Africa Labs, that's the problem, as we discussed at the first session, that we don't know each other's. Even we are Africans, but it's the first time to hear about Africa Labs, and it's a miss, really. So I hope for the future we can connect to each other's more. It's a note.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a comment.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you've basically just taken the words out of my mouth. I think we definitely need to invest in connecting with each other, understand the work we do, but then most importantly, because beyond the connection is now how do we work together? How do we bridge the gap between research and innovation and all the players along the spectrum? So I would say we absolutely need to invest and dedicate more time through programming, through forums like this, and the likes, to develop frameworks and platforms that bridge the gap between all the stakeholders across the spectrum. So I think that would be it for me.
Thank you so much. And I would like to ask Professor Nevin Makran, Professor Mohamed Basharuddin, and Dr. Anna Matros-Koreses, if you have something to add, please, you are more than welcome.
No, thank you very much, Nerina. Thank you.
If I just like to add, I think there are many potential collaboration. I think, as Prof. Amal mentioned, there are many things that we can come out as the results of this World Forum in what you call this, for science, innovation, and entrepreneurship. I think we shall work together because you already laid the platform. So thank you very much again. Grazie mille.
Thank you so much. And I would really, Dr. Anna Matros-Koreses.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, and I actually just wanted to reiterate what Nabil was saying around the Pan-Africa, the Pan-Rima, and the value of the networks that we've been saying. So all what we are saying is we don't know each other, we need to connect. That connection is important, and the networks are already there. There's no need to reinvent. We can make use of what is already there, and then just find a way of sharing information at a platform where everyone can access the information. But I'm sure we are all working very hard on that, and Sarima is more than happy to participate and network.
Thank you so much. And I would like to remind all of us that this is the opening session of the forum that is going to take place under the next 3 days with many researchers and innovators presenting what they are working on. And for me, reading the application was really more the hope, seeing how many people are really working to make Africa a better place, not only, and to collaborate all together. Professor Amal Amin, do you want to close this session?
Yeah. Thanks a lot for all speakers, for all audience, and for Nerina, my partner, for friends, and so on. Please don't forget our take-home message now. I think it's collection of keywords like leadership, networks, multi and trans, mentoring, investment, partnerships, and also at the end, information availability, because we have a severe lack of data and information about networks. There are several efforts going beyond our imagination, but nobody knows about it. so that it's my message to know about each other's, to have a dialogue. It's a chance to be here in the forum, but if we have no forum, why not to contact each other? Just send a message over LinkedIn or over Facebook or something like that. Offer collaboration and then begin this collaboration. Be change makers in reality, not only to wait someone to contact you to begin this change. We must be the change makers ourselves by small action. Okay? It's a call and beginning for new collaboration. I am open. My WhatsApp is known. Maybe I would not declare it now, but if you ask friends, I am available everywhere: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. All collaborations I welcome, because it's our time for scientists to begin this message, to collaborate over gaps. We have gaps between scientists, research managers, and also the society. So it's a great honor for me to be here, and it's time to work together. Please don't forget to register for the next days. I share on the Facebook the general link for all sessions. Don't forget, only see it on your mobile, just for information. You will not waste your time. Maybe it will be a new chance for collaborations with others all over the world. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
No, thank you a lot to everyone. Also, for sure, we are not making alone. So whatever we are going to reach and arrive is going to be together. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you in the next sessions. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nerina.
Thanks a lot.
Have a lovely day. Buona giornata. And thank you very much,
Bye
Amal,
bye.
for inviting us. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye.